Now that we showed you how easy it is to actually set these up, what Danny and I are going to do now is show you a way to rig them. There's a lot of ways to rig outriggers. We're going to show you a pretty cool way to do this and show you the easy way to do it with these particular internally rigged poles. This unit comes with mono already. It's spooled here, nicely wrapped. So what we want to do is we want to unwrap this, and I'll show you why. We want to control it, make sure it doesn't get out of control and too much line come off. But what Danny is on one side, which is the very end down here. So as you can see, it comes already tied to where the mono doesn't come back through the roller. So Danny's going to pull that out to make it easy for us to bring it back to the boat. So you need to get a length of mono out of the system. So I'm going to pull some of that out and off. We're going to control it with the spool. So Danny's going to make plenty of mono so that when the outrigger is way out there, we can bring it back to the boat and we can manage it right here from the deck. So we'll show you how to do that. It makes it a lot simpler. I'm going to take the saran wrap that we use. I'm going to wrap it back around a little bit so that we can kind of control the coil. Doesn't have to be pretty, just to keep it from unwrapping. So we're going to do that. We should have plenty of mono for the black. We're going to do the same thing for the clear, which is the second line from the tip or the middle line. The short line if you're deploying baits. The shortest line is actually a teaser for most use. But unwrap. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Danny's going to pull a length of this particular mono out so that we can easily manage it, bring it back to the boat and rig the units. I'm unspooling some of this, trying to stay in control of it so it stays on, actually stays on the spool. Take the saran wrap and wrap it back up, just to keep it from untangling. The blue, I'm going to kind of keep it right here because I think we can manage that and pull that from the deck. The other was because the outriggers are out there, extended, it's off the back of the boat and difficult to get to. So that's why we pulled that extra mono out of there. So at this point, what Danny and I are going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the outrigger right up on the mount. And then we're going to take that mono that he pulled out, make sure it's managed from the back of the boat so that when we extend these, we can bring it back in. We can put our line stops, our rigging clips, all the stuff that we're getting ready to show you how to do and rig these up. So you're starting to see this kind of taking shape, and the cool factor of this really, I mean, it looks really nice, but one thing when you're rigging outriggers that you want to make sure is to manage these lines to the deck. And that's why we took the time to pull some out. And so now we got plenty of halyard line, got plenty of mono to work right here in our space when we start to install these. Otherwise, it's way out there and it's an aggravating pain in the behind to get out there and try to grab this mono and manage it. So if you take a little bit of time, pull it into the deck, and then you can manage it right from here. Super simple. Man, these are going to look fantastic on this new Camus. All right, so what we did is we went ahead and positioned the outriggers to where we normally will fish these. So we put them in the perpendicular position and rolled them up with the new GS300 to the location that we would normally put the outriggers out when you deploy your lines. So what we'll do is we'll rig these right back to the boat. We're going to bring these actually to the gunnel. Georgia's got a great place, and Camus put a really cool spot right here. We would normally use our outrigger line tensioners for this, but they've got a cleat right here that'll work beautifully for the installation of these. It'll come right down to the gunnel. We'll put the triple roller right here. This is going to be a nice installation. So in this full rigging kit, this is the mono premium rigging kit that we have. In case you wanted to change out to all black, it does come with plenty of mono that you can do that on port and starboard side. We're going to keep the blue and the clear in this though, but the rigging kit does come with that. And then it's got all the ball stops, the swivels, the triple rollers, the bungee cords, everything that you're going to need to install in the outrigger system. A lot of ways to rig outriggers. What I found over the years and works well for me is to start from the end, put your ball stop on, Put it on your halyard line, your mono right there. And what I do like to do to make sure it's real clean, I went and got a little bit of 1/4 3/8 inch heat shrink. I normally will put that on. And then what I do there is I'll take our crimper sleeve, put the mono through it. Okay, got the crimper sleeve on one side. Just take the swivel, put that on, run it back through on the other side. So what happens is when you cut one with a dike or something, sometimes it mashes out the edge of the mono. If that happens, it's hard to get through a crimper sleeve. Just cut it at an angle. Makes it a little more pointed. This should make it easy. Bring the crimper sleeve down. And slide it right up through the other side. Pokes out right there. You can actually get it real tight, real close. Bring it up close to the opening of the swivel. Pulling on the long side. Holding the crimper sleeve and pulling it down as far as you can. That makes it nice and tight. Then take your crimper tool. On this one, it's going to be the largest setting. Leave a little bit of space where the crimper sleeve is so that it doesn't chafe real bad. Same thing at the top. A little bit of space, not a lot. Crimp it together. We're good to go. And then to clean it up, all you really need to do is take the heat shrink, and if you actually have a heat gun, real simple, real easy. One thing you want to do is be real careful of putting heat on the mono. So we've got a little torch that we're going to place heat and dissipate it from a distance so that it slowly shrinks that heat shrink, but it really does clean up the installation, makes it look so nice. Well, as you can see, Danny's a pretty good ways away from it, and it's slowly shrinking without damaging the mono. I'm turning it on the opposite side. It's just a real low heat, to be honest with you. You don't have to get it close. It's shrinking up pretty well right over top of it. And that should be pretty good. As you can see, it's a little bit up right here. You can tighten that up a little bit. We don't want to melt the mono, but this makes a very, very clean installation. Ball stop comes right down to it. It hits it right there, makes it pretty. And so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take the release clip out of the premium rigging kit. These are really nice because you can adjust the tension on this. And what you want to do when you install this is you want to make sure that the release clip is going to be in a down position. So when a fish hits and the line's through that, it releases downward, it stays out of the way. Otherwise, it would release, hit up, and possibly catch the line. So that's what you want to do. You just want to let gravity take over, release it, line's through there, pops, gets out of the way. So what you want to do, you want to take your swivel, makes it real simple right here. That installation is pretty, it's simple, it's easy, and now we can control this from the deck. You want it tighter, you simply make that adjustment. Tight, super tight right there. So however you want to do it, that's personal preference right there, and depends on what you're fishing for, how heavy your lure is, or your skirt if you're using ballyhoo. So instead of taking you through the entire installation process again, I'll show you how to come back to it in a minute, but we're going to repeat the same on the clear and the blue. The short line, which is the blue on this one, we're going to put a release clip on that. But what a lot of people will do is actually use that on a triple rigged outrigger as a teaser line. So I can also show you how to put either a roller and or a stainless steel loop, if you will, or ring to where your teaser line can go through it. No hooks in that bait, brings the fish up. Just kind of an activity thing. It's pretty cool. All right, so let me go over some componentry that's in that triple rigging kit to show you exactly how it works, because it's going to take a little bit of an assembly. And what we've done here on Captain George's boat is, as I mentioned before, we're going to take the halyard lines and we're going to come right to the cleat. It's a real simple installation that easy on, easy off, so that when George is having to take the outriggers off, if he's going traveling or whatever he's doing. So let me show you the components that are in this. Number one, it's a bungee cord with a clamp. Then also in the kit, there's a piece of already cut heat shrink. There is a hog ring and the triple roller. And the reason we do it like this is because rigging outriggers is so specific to the individual, and this particular boat, the versatility of being able to lengthen or shorten to the roller designation that you want is very important. So we're going to rig this up. I've gotten one ready, so I want to show you how we're going to make sure that they're the same basically, and I'm going to show you how to rig it. So I'm going to take the components, and what we're going to do is you want to take the bungee. Okay, it comes just like this out of the package. Okay. You take this piece of heat shrink, go ahead and put it on first, and then want to take the actual hog ring, put it on next. Take the triple roller, run the bungee right through that opening. Take the end of the bungee after that's on, run it right back through where the hog ring is. Adjust it down to the exact location of the one that I already know is going to be exactly where we need, because I did some measuring already. Let's get it exact. Loosen it just a touch. I think that is going to almost be perfect right there. I think that's going to be just right. So I'm going to push the hog ring up. That way it keeps it in place. I'm going to ask Danny, while I hold this, to clamp down the hog ring. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this section, run it right through the heat shrink, put that through, run the heat shrink up, see how far it goes up. Okay, so what we want to do is then we'll pull it back down. I'll cut the tag end a little bit short, maybe 1/4 of an inch or so, and that way the heat shrink goes around it and keeps it captured. So it should be about right there. We'll get Danny to cut that. We'll remove this. We'll take our torch and heat the end so that we don't have fraying. So now we'll take our heat shrink, go right over that, and then we'll either take the torch and just make it look just like that one. Very nice. All right, so we have an adjusted triple roller to the bungee cord and the clamp. I'm going to show you how to rig these up and to bring these mono lines, halyard lines, right through this, make it nice and deployable. Looks good. As I mentioned before, Camus has got a midship cleat that's absolutely perfect for where you want to run these outriggers from. So all I'm going to do is lift the cleat, take the bungee, and then what we want to do is take the clamp or the clip and run it right back into that opening, right where that triple roller is. So this, it's captured, can't go anywhere. It's got a very firm location to where you can manage the actual halyard lines from when you're deploying or bringing in your bait. This is going to be nice. All right, now what we're going to do is take the opposite side of the halyard line or the mono, the black, which is the long line. Okay, we're going to start with that. And so what I'll do is I'm going to cut a little bit more than what's actually needed. Okay, but now I'm going to actually cut. Once I've pulled off several lengths, I know that this is more halyard line that I'm going to need, but you'd want to make sure you do that just in case there are mistakes. You cut something wrong, you still have plenty of line to utilize when rigging. So let me cut this off. Okay, so what we'll do now is, now that I have the long line ready to go, I will take this, and on the triple rigger, you want your long line furthest aft. So as you can see how this sits, we're going to take this end and we're going to go on the furthest aft roller, on the triple roller here, pull it through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end that we've already completed, and I'm going to take one of our swivels, put it on the release clip. That way it looks just like this. So I can actually cut a little more of this material. We don't need all that. So what I'll do at this point, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to slide on a piece of heat shrink that's already been cut. I'm going to put the crimper sleeve on, and then I'm going to take the mono, run it right through the end of the swivel, and then I'm going to manage this as we come back through. I'll take this mono, come right, just like I did with the first installation on the very top part of the release clip. Come back through the crimper sleeve. Now, what we're starting to do is manage the length of the halyard line. So I'm holding the crimper sleeve, I'm pulling the line, the piece of the line that actually goes all the way through the outrigger, out to the tip. I'm pulling it through the crimper sleeve. Get this taut. Now what we can do is run the crimper sleeve all the way up to the end, and what you want to do is get enough tension on this halyard line to where this is pretty taut right here, puts a little stretch. If you're going to use a bungee, some people use just a straight hard piece of rope right here as well, 1/4 inch rope. Either one will be fine. And so what you want to do is pull this in now, and then you can manage this because we've already slid the crimper sleeve up. This is nice and taut, so when it's out there, it's in the fishing position. All right, so you can see that you can roll it in, roll it out pretty simply, nice and smooth. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and crimp this. This is ready to go. Same crimping mechanism on our sleeve. Leave a little bit of space right there on the largest opening. I think it's a 2.2 if I'm not mistaken. It is. Just with it right down here. Turn that down. Ready to trim this off. Just make it close to the crimper sleeve. Boom, ready to go. And this is ready. So what we'll do now is we'll take this heat shrink. We'll do the exact same process to pretty this up. And heating it, so it'll be ready to roll. I realize we got heat on mono. If you're careful, you can easily do this. Get that heat shrink tight without damaging the mono. And you don't have to go through this step. That's the one thing. You don't have to do that. I like doing it. It cleans it up a little bit, and then it makes the ball stop slide over, and it just protects it a little more. But again, you don't have to do it. Okay, so what we're going to do, that long one's done. So what I'll normally do at this point, I'll come back to the shortest one at that point because it's going to come through the back side. It's going to even this up, and then we can manage the middle one very simply like this. One thing I like to do when rigging outriggers is to put a teaser ring, or actually you can use like a rod stand or a harken roller that goes onto your swivel. But for this purpose, I've got some stainless steel rings. All I did was just put that right onto our swivel. clip it right here. And then what we're going to do is the exact same process on the opposite side. So you've got the long, the center, and then the short. The short goes further forward. And then we're going to use the same process that we did on the long. So we're going to slide a piece of heat shrink, put a crimper sleeve on, one of our swivels, and then this actually goes right on the opposite side of the teaser ring. And what happens is your line, your teaser line goes through this and it deploys out, and then you can just bring it right back through when you're bringing it up if you're fighting a fish. So at this point, we're just going to tighten the halyard line, find our crimper sleeve, which is right here. Run your tag in through the other side, pull it down tight, manage this to where the tension is just about exactly the same, run it up, and then we're ready to go. We can crimp it, good to go. Let's trim this, clean up this tag end real close, and then we're ready to get the heat out again with the heat shrink. So folks, what you can see right here is I managed both sides, on the outside and on the inside, or toward the aft and toward the forward. So I made sure that they were in proper position to where this is nice and parallel. And then so I'm going to finish this off with the exact same process with the center one. This center one is going to have the release clip. So now what you've got is the ability to run a long line, a short line, and a teaser with this setup. This is a really classic type setup, does a really good job when you're offshore. It gives you the versatility to use a lot of things to raise the fish, the pelagic species that you're going after, and it allows you to make sure that you're putting the bait in the strike zone. The value and the benefits of outriggers are fantastic when offshore fishing. All right, everybody, so what we've done is we finished off the center clear line, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty impressed with this. It's a classic way to set up your outrigger system. It's really easy. These internally rigged outrigger poles are fantastic. Feel free to comment on this video and ask any questions you might have. I'll be happy to respond to them. You can find out a lot of information on our company and these products at tacomarine.com. Until next time, I'm Captain Mark Henderson with Taco Marine and the Liquid Fire Fishing Team.
And I'm Danny Avila with Hammer Time Sport Fishing and Taco Marine.
We're excited to bring these to you and hope to see you on the water soon. Y'all enjoy.